Good afternoon and welcome to the April 8th edition of the Pittsburgh Land Bank. I'd like to start by a roll call.
Reverend Ricky Burgess, Dr. Jamil Bey,
Present.
Councilman Daniel Lavelle, Senator Wayne Fontana,
Here.
Councilman Bobby Wilson, Director Steve Mazza, Director Wanda Wilson,
Present.
Director Karen Breen.
Present.
The PLB does not have a physical quorum. Regardless, we will go through the agenda as written.
Are there any public comments? Is anyone registered to speak? Seeing none, we'll go right.
Reverend Burgess, this is Gordon Davidson. I don't know if I'm registered to speak. May I proceed?
We do have one. This is Gordon Davidson?
Yeah.
Yes, you have 3 minutes to speak.
I won't take 3 minutes, Reverend Burgess. Thank you very much. I participated or made a comment in the last meeting, and it had to do with outreach processes performed by the land bank. And I was hoping somebody would get back in touch with me. That didn't happen, but I participated in a vacant property working group meeting this morning. That's with the Pittsburgh Community Reinvestment Group. And Emily, Nathan, and Ken participated in that meeting. I expressed my concerns, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to open a dialogue in the near future. So I just wanted to make that clear. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other members of the public who'd like to speak? Going once. Okay, moving right along. Since we do not have a quorum, we are unable to approve the March minutes. We'll push that to the May meeting. As the chairman's report. Councilman Burgess has sponsored legislation before the Pittsburgh City Council to establish an affordable housing committee. The committee includes all city insiders, including the mayor, the chief economic development officer, the director of city planning, the executive director of the housing authority, the executive director of the URA, and the executive director of the Pittsburgh Land Bank, and up to 4 city council members. If approved, the committee would explore financial tools that encourage private and public investment in affordable housing, host regular public meetings, and provide quarterly reports detailing findings and recommendations. That is it for the chairman's report. Turn it over for the executive director's update. And Emily, are you doing that?
Correct. So on behalf of Executive Director Dr. Diamante Walker, my name is Emily Kalchuk, Land Bank Coordinator, and I'll be giving the Executive Director updates. We'd like to announce the departure of Dr. Diamante Walker from the URA and the Land Bank for a new opportunity in the nonprofit sector. Dr. Walker has been a driving force behind the URA and Land Bank's growth and success in empowering people while transforming place in the city of Pittsburgh. Through her work with the MWBE program that was expanded, she has spurred opportunities for growth and capacity building in the city. She has facilitated partnerships with influential corporations, nonprofits and community stakeholders, government agencies, and many others to create a more equitable city for all. As the first Black woman to become the URA's Deputy Executive Director, she shaped a new vision and direction for the URA and the Land Bank by creating a more community-driven focus and addressing the city's modern-day economic and development challenges. Her last day will be April 14th with the URA and the Land Bank, and we wish her the best of luck on her future endeavors and successes.
He will be missed.
He will be missed. She was a stabilizing force for us here, I know at the Land Bank, but I'm sure for the URA too. Seeing her out and about in many different places and throughout my district and working together with her from the state level was actually a pleasure. very easy to work with, very reasonable. So as I expressed to her about a week or so ago out in the, urban cutting up in the Hill District, the mayor was there and Jake Wheatley was there. Everybody expressed their fact that we're going to miss her a lot. So, but she did mention to me that she would be calling me in her new capacity. So I'm sure I'll be seeing her, but still for the city of URA, it's a big loss.
Is her new role public?
I didn't ask her.
Okay.
Guessing, I can guess though.
All right. Hey, that takes us to Land Bank and URA staff updates.
Mhm. Our first staff update will be updates to the Land Bank and City GRB law contracts, a donation agreement on behalf of the city that the Land Bank pays for quiet title services administered by GRB law. So the first set of petitions for quiet title were filed on March 18th and presented this past Monday, April 4th. From there, GRB will advertise each case and serve respondents post the property, and these respondents will have a 30-day period to answer. GRB law is in the process of finalizing the second batch of petitions for properties, and once finalized, they will follow the same process as the properties on the previous slide. The Land Bank has requested the addition of 3 properties into the GRB law agreement, although we will not be voting on this authorization today. But these properties intended for the Pittsburgh Property Reserve before it closed in January of 2020 would like to be added into this agreement. And because additionally, Hazelwood Initiative, though a registered community group, was not represented among the many CDCs in the first agreement. Our second authorization will not be voted on today, but is the authorization to engage GRB law in drafting a 3 taxing bodies agreement on behalf of the Land Bank. So the Pittsburgh Land Bank drafting an agreement among the 3 taxing bodies, the city, county, and school board, about how they will handle and potentially forgive back taxes on distressed parcels of land. The PLB will engage GRB law in the initial drafting of this agreement, and the Land Bank is excited at the possibility of expanding its partnership with GRB law, who has worked with many land banks in and around Allegheny County. The second and third update is a notification of proposed revision in the Land Bank's policies and procedures. So the Land Bank is pushing to adopt a revision that allows for directed sales to both individuals and community groups in the city of Pittsburgh. This will allow us to process unproductive properties and get them back into the hands of qualified end users and community groups in a more efficient manner. Among the proposed edits are guidelines that allow for directed sale under the following conditions: side yards, green space, affordable mixed income or workforce housing, development assemblages where applicants own a significant portion of the development site, properties in the Pittsburgh Property Reserve, and community-based facilities, and finally, a non-competitive sale approved by 2/3 votes of the entire board of directors. On hand, we have Nathan Clark, our Chief Legal Officer, to answer any questions from board members and attendees.
I think it's a great idea with the side lots and direct sales. The county has a program, vacant property. They move it along quite quickly, and over the years has done a great job. It certainly helps in that case. Communities, in this case, will be neighborhoods, to be able to, put those side lots and green spaces, in some cases, back on the tax rolls, and people are taking care of it, other than expecting the city to do it. So it's a great idea if we can expedite that.
I have a question about how this would work with, it says properties in the Pittsburgh Property Reserve, but what about an additional process going forward for community organizations to identify properties for the property reserve in the future?
The changes as amended try to account for that scenario. So a general attempt is to clear the property reserve and also provide this as an option for community groups going forward.
I think that's a great idea. Wanda. They should have the opportunity to identify and put it into the program. I think that's pretty much the way it happens out in the municipalities outside the city of Pittsburgh. So to have that option or that availability is certainly be beneficial.
Any other questions from those of you who are participating virtually? Next item.
Our final update is an update on the Land Bank's Qualified End User Consideration Scorecard. This item was originally brought to the Land Bank Board of Directors 2 months ago at the meeting as an additional tool to objectively evaluate end users and applications for properties. Among the scorecard are categories for general considerations, priority guidelines for our commercial properties, our discretionary information, and additional concerns and considerations. On this next slide, you'll see a visual demonstration of the information on these qualified end user scorecards, which was gathered from internal working group meetings amongst the Land Bank and URA shared staff. This has generated 4 scorecards for each disposition type that the Land Bank undertakes: commercial properties, residential properties, vacant land, and side yards. Board members may request a demonstration of each of the 4 qualified end user scorecards. And in addition, the Land Bank will be bringing these forward for community groups, such as our vacant property working group, for recommendations and guidelines moving forward.
And that moves us into our finance report.
Hi, everyone.
On
Oh, sorry, Emily, are you
go
taking this
ahead.
or would you like me to take it?
Feel free to take it.
Okay, thanks, Emily. Yeah, sorry, I'm not in person today, but attached and shown on the screen are the up-to-date financial reports as of March for Pittsburgh Land Bank. There is $765,000 in cash in the bank. As the board has met in the past few months, this money is mainly going to be used towards this GRB contract that has been discussed earlier. And this is the up-to-date P&L on the right. If you move over to the next slide, please. There's one outstanding GRB law contract. This happened because of some administration issues when the former PLB manager left. We're getting that rectified, and you can see that in addition to the usual Pulse Fellowship bill that the PLB pays monthly, the future projected expenses for April are all legal bills. I'm available for any questions if you have them. Thank you.
Are there any questions regarding this? Go ahead, Juan.
Thanks, Dr. Bay. Could you let us know when we might expect to see the financial reports included in the board packets going forward? I didn't see it in the packet.
Yeah, that is my mistake because the URA is undergoing an audit. They will be included in the packets going forward.
Are there any other questions or concerns about the financial report? Okay, that takes us to legislative updates. Senator Fontana.
Thank you. So Senate Bill 811, we've been talking about it for a while. It's actually has some movement. It went scheduled in the Urban Affairs and Housing Committee on March 30th. It actually passed through there unanimously. Democrats and Republicans voted together. Can you imagine? So the legislation now, the process, it currently sits in the Appropriations Committee in the Senate. I'm not sure at this point when it will be scheduled for that particular committee. We're back 3 days this coming week, and then we're not back probably for 5 weeks because of the elections and all that sort of thing. So we come back at the end of May, but on April 12th, the House Urban Affairs Committee is going to meet to consider a host of bills and an additional strategy for over in the House. I drafted a version of Senate Bill 811 to be a Title 53 bill. Certainly we shared that amendment with the House Housing Committee as Republican staff. So we're basically in talks with them to see if that's a possibility, just to try to expedite and move things along if we can. It doesn't necessarily have to be my sponsored bill. If we can get it into another bill and as an amendment, it gets it done. So we'll see how that goes going forward. But that is progress, believe it or not. There, it moves slow, but we did get some progress there. And actually, I think they want to do it along with some other bills. They have a bunch of blight bills that they're trying to put together in a package, and this is certainly going to be one of them. I can't say the same for House Bill 610. That's Representative Austin Davis's bill that's been sort of sitting up there. It was in over in the House. It did get a vote over there, but it's been laid on the table since September, and it's been sitting there. I suspect they won't move his bill this year as his bill. Not to be political, but that's probably the reason. You know, it's a good bill too, obviously. It gives land banks some protection, the same as they give into the redevelopment authorities when they're certainly dealing with environmentally compromised properties. It would be good to have that too, but we may have to work on that later rather than sooner after we see what happens in November and all that stuff. So, but anyway, keep your fingers crossed. Maybe we'll get 811 through some way before, hopefully before the end of June is what I was hoping for. So, see what happens. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any new business? Hearing none. Any additional public comment? We will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I have a
Motion to
public
adjourn.
comment.
Oh, somebody has a comment.
Okay. Who is
Hi.
it?
Hi, my
You
name
have
is,
3 minutes.
all right. So my name is Becca Simon, and I am the Land Use Policy Manager at Grounded Strategies. I'm speaking on behalf for Joint Smith through PCRG too, as a member. Today we had a session with Pittsburgh Land Bank where we're trying to understand how we can better commit with community partnership between the land bank, the city, and all these amazing community organizations doing work towards vacant land and helping support residents through these processes. And we've come up with a couple requests and concerns that we've seen, especially after the meeting today, including highlighting that numerous organizations have been in discussion with the Pittsburgh Land Bank in the past few years regarding policies and procedures. And yet there's little to no continuity between changes in staff with what suggestions and requests coming out of these meetings. We are hoping to see some better conversation back and forth between these community partners, acknowledging all the work that we've put into these conversations with the land bank. Also, with the $10 million allocated in ARPA funds, we must have better clarity around the intended use of these funds, especially in the next 4 years. How is this directly impacting RCOs, community groups, individuals? Where is the staffing being held in this? We would love to know, as well as if the PLB is lacking capacity, which we've heard today during our meeting during the Vacant Property Working Group. There are amazing organizations, as I was saying, that are able to help and support that. We're here, we're ready to stand up and support anything the land bank needs to do. We just need commitment from the land bank and the city of Pittsburgh as well. We want to see continued pathways for individual ownership, RCO, access to properties reserve. And we think this is best intended through an MOU. We need to see a broader connection between Vacant Property Working Group, PCRG members, and the city of Pittsburgh and the Pittsburgh Land Bank in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Simon. You said which organization, which neighborhood are you in?
Oh, yeah, I'm from Garfield. Thank you.
Garfield. Great, thank you. There any other community public comments?
Hi, yes, my name is John Boyle. One second. I'm a researcher with the Pittsburgh Community Reinvestment Group. Our organization hosts the Vacant Property Working Group, which meets every second Friday of the month. This morning, we were able to speak with Pittsburgh Land Bank staff, and while we plan on drafting an official letter to send to the PLB board summarizing this conversation, I just wanted to take a couple minutes to highlight some of the salient issues that we spoke about this morning. So numerous organizations have been in discussion with the PLB for the past few years regarding policies and procedures, yet we have seen little to no continuity in how those suggestions and requests are processed in between changes in PLB staff. At times, the PLB continues to struggle with developing its own capabilities, and there needs to be an increased focus by the board to secure this, whether that means securing outside support, outside community organizational support, or other land bank experts. We would be appreciative of that. Additionally, with the $10 million that was allocated in ARPA funds, we must have better public clarity around the intended use of these funds. And beyond what was just established in the 2022 capital budget that outlays the 10 million over 4 years. We would call for the Land Bank Board to adopt a public process to seek input on how those funds would be used moving forward. Additionally, if the Land Bank Board has adopted the Pittsburgh Land Reserve 2.0 guidelines, but the board has not moved to modify or adopt those as part of its operating procedures and guidelines, and we strongly believe that this must happen. Additionally, if the PLB is going to use end user qualified end user scorecards, there needs to be a space for public comment and input on how those metrics are created and utilized. We understand that those are just drafts at this point, and that is on the agenda for later today. But again, that's something we're very interested in. And lastly, we just want to reiterate our support for the Pittsburgh Land Bank. We strongly believe in it, and PCRG and our partners would like to formalize that partnership with the PLB, which could take the form of a memorandum of understanding to help define the goals and partnerships that we can bring to the table. That's all. I know it was a lot. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, John. Which neighborhood are you from?
I'm sorry. So I live in Squirrel Hill, and I am speaking on behalf of Pittsburgh Community Reinvestment Group, PCRG.
Thank you. Are there any other public commenters? Since I can't see the screen, I'll give it a countdown. 3, 2, 1. Hearing none. Senator Fontana, you wanted to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, folks. We'll see you next month.